But I think when you're starting to establish a business mindset, you start to understand that everything is data. Everything is just constant data. So it's almost like encouraging that feedback, whether it be negative or positive. Well, tell me more. You like it? Why didn't you say it? Why didn't you see it?
Exactly.
Okay, you didn't see it. Maybe I'm not describing this better.
And two, what I found is sometimes I'll deliver the message, right? The idea. So it's creating a place, right, where people of all backgrounds and cultures feel like they can come in and be authentic, right? Sounds great. Sounds sexy, right? But why? Right? So question, I'm taken aback. Well, why? How do you know that's going to work? What's the proof of concept? Where's the traction? Have you validated that idea? Right? And maybe I wasn't ready for that conversation then, but what am I doing now? Trying to build the traction and validate the idea.
Yo, thanks for locking in. Today, my training partner on Gym Life is going to be Erica Bond from Atlanta, Georgia, entrepreneur and founder of All Love Racket Club. I can't front. Erica be going hard. She's super active. If she's not playing tennis, she's in here getting her training sessions in with me. Today, we're going to be talking about the hustle and the grind of starting your own business. Let's vibe out.
What's up?
Hey, what's going on?
What's going on?
How you feeling?
I'm good. It's Friday. We here.
Yes, I'm telling you. And speaking of which, right? Like, it's interesting to see your energy now. Because usually Friday means end of the work week, and you're looking to make that shift. Where Friday is now just another day in your imagination and your creativity.
When I tell you, if Monday through Friday could just be imagination days, I'm winning.
That's what it is. You know, what's really dope is that I get to have these conversations with you when you're in the just getting things started phase. I think a lot of people see these businesses when they're already launched, already done, making a bunch of money. But what's cool about when we get to talk is I get to see someone who's making that transition from 9 to 5 to pursuing what they love.
Exactly. And it's different. A lot of times you see people with a product or they've already got a lot of revenue coming towards an idea and they're trying to expand. But I've come from, it's an idea in my head. Let me put it together in a vision so that I can articulate it to somebody like yourself. And then how do we get that vision into something that's a reality? And it's a lot of work. It's a lot of steps. But that's the shooting in the gym that people don't see.
The things that people don't see.
That's right.
So what do you think it was? Like, what was the number one feeling you had from going to work every day, where it's a stable job, right? And what was the number one feeling you had that made you say, look, I got to venture out and do this thing that's been brewing in my head for so long?
And we talked about this before. It's that feeling of beyond, right? You're sitting in a meeting, you're sitting in a conversation at work, and you're just like, this is not it, you know? I'm not using most of my creativity, my passion, my ideation power, right? It's just dreaming beyond a certain ceiling. And it's not that 9 to 5, you obviously have room to grow, right? And progress your career, but it's your mind, right? Can you progress your mind? Can you challenge yourself and just break that ceiling beyond, you know?
And I mean, the 9 to 5 will always be there.
Exactly.
You're always able to go back there.
Exactly.
So it's really, really dope to see you at this stage. So you already know when we get together, we're going to bang it out a little bit.
Let's get it.
So we got a workout coming. I got my kettlebell here.
All right.
I'm going to break down the exercises we're going to do through the circuits. And then after that, I'm going to have you choose your kettlebell.
All right.
So number 1, we're going to go hip hinges with the kettlebell. Whatever side we have that kettlebell on, that leg goes back.
Okay.
I like to keep the kettlebell nice and close as you drive back, and then we're going to come up for 10. Right? We want to make sure we're feeling it right in our glutes and hamstrings. So we'll go right side, left side. After that, we're going to go rows. So we'll be here, relax the neck and shoulder, drive back for rows. Each exercise is going to be for 10 reps. Then the next one is rows on the other side. We'll go 10 there. And then last will be a kettlebell deadlift to squat, where we drive back with the kettlebell, up, down into a squat, and that'll be for 10.
All right, let's get it.
So I'm going to set the timer. You choose which kettlebell you're going to rock with, and then we're going to get it going.
All right. Let me see.
You got it?
Yeah, I think this is a good one.
Okay, good, cool. All right, so you can put that down. We're gonna start off with a warm up.
All right.
And you can just follow me. Each exercise is gonna be for 1 minute each. It's gonna be a total of 5 minutes. First one is standing hip rotations.
Right.
So we're gonna go up, go from the right side to the left side. So what would you say the first step was that you took in terms of making that transition or just trying to launch this business off the ground? What was like the very first thing you did?
I think for me, it was important, if I'm gonna leave the stability of a 9-to-5, right? I needed to have an idea that I could put my entire life, heart, being, mentality around. So the first thing was coming up with the idea that I could really feel passionate about, right? So that was number one. And then from there, it's finding the time in the day to kind of like develop and do that research, right? Because the biggest thing about starting a business is you're solving some sort of problem that you see in the market, right? So you have to research what angle, what's the solution, why is this the solution, what historically has made this need to be the solution, right? So first step for me was idea and then research. R&D, research and discovery.
Research and discover, research and discover. Next, we're gonna step back with one leg. Reach up, whatever leg you step back with, reach that arm up. You'll feel the stretch in your hip flexor, and then you're just gonna keep alternating.
Feels
Each
good.
one you reach back. So you know what's so cool about what you said is that it's not like just how fun this thing is. All right, so you know you play tennis your whole life. You know you love tennis. You know you want to do something in tennis, but one of the first things you did was identify a need.
Right. Exactly.
Like how do we translate this into something that people are gonna pay for and enjoy paying for it?
Yeah, and I mean, I think it is about that need, right? So for me, the idea, All Love Racket Club, right? It comes from creating spaces, private tennis clubs, where you feel like you belong if you're not the stereotypical white male, right? Tennis is an elite sport. That's the mindset that it has. So, you know, it's just coming up with an idea to where you make an alternative for people that look like me, that have played their whole lives.
And good, we'll reach down, reach up. What I think is a very important, I guess, branch way of that is that sometimes people think that when people of color or minorities do things for ourselves, that it is to sort of reject what's going on in the mainstream, but that's not the case.
No.
Historically, because there has been groups of us that have been left out, we decide, okay, let's make something so we don't feel left out as much.
Exactly.
Right?
It's an alternative. And within the tennis community here in LA, the private tennis clubs, it's not a new idea. So in the 1900s, the first club was open, and you can guess who it was targeted towards, right?
Right.
A white man, right? All right, but Jewish people were excluded. So a few years later, Beverly Hills Tennis Club comes, okay? Now there's a place for Jewish people, okay? Celebrities are excluded from both of them because they're not seen as serious tennis players. So then we create the Griffin Club. So it's actually not even a new idea, like you said, to create an alternative that's not any different than what's available, but just more inclusive or targeted to including a different type of person.
So that's just your version of it.
Exactly.
Right? So with each new club, another demographic gets included into it. So now it's like, okay, let me just target a demographic that I can personally identify with.
Exactly.
That's big.
Exactly.
And I could assume that funding is something that is a roadblock, because I run into the same issue when it was time to start up my gym, was funding. And a lot of times banks want to see that you're already making money. But you're not making any money because it's a new idea. So I know for us, I'll tell you like a little brief history on how we got started. I was personal training when I first moved out here to LA, and we'll get the quads. Next, right leg back, left leg back. And the personal training business got really big. So next thing I was like, shit, I want to open a gym. And I called my college roommate, and I was like, yo, I think I got this dope idea, let's open a gym. And I was trying to see if we can get a loan, but it was so difficult. Even with good credit, like very good credit, even with a personal training business, banks were like, yeah, but we need to see this.
They're not trying to take a risk.
They're not trying to take a risk.
And you're of color, so they're really not trying to take a risk.
Really not trying to take a risk.
Exactly.
And So I tell this to my friend, and he says, you know what? I think we can do it. I was like, what? He's like, there's a large group of us that, grew up together, and then everybody just started dumping their money.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Which not everybody has that that privilege of having a group of friends like that. But what I would say is that just be creative when it's time to get that money. And if you do have friends that believe in you, have them be the loans and pay them back with interest.
Yeah.
And then after, I want to say 18 months, was able to pay everybody back.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think I love that friends and family round. So what I'm actually trying to do is build, it's kind of like proof of concept, right?
Okay.
Right? And so what it is
proof of concept.
Yeah, proof of concept, POC. And so what proof of concept really is building almost a following. My balance is bad.
That's all right.
Building a proof
Judgment-free zone.
It's building traction around the idea. So I'm actually working through that now. How can I create a following around something that's an idea so that when you are going to big brands or banks or loans or grants, you actually do have traction, even in not the way of revenue, but just this is actually a solution that the community wants to see. Right?
Okay.
So it's almost like you have this idea, you identify a gap in the market, and then you get a following around you that agrees. So before you even break ground on a physical location of a tennis club, I already have a following. I already have a waiting list of people that are ready to sign up. So that's really my next steps. Utilizing the summer to kind of do little pop-ups around this idea of All Love Racket Club.
And what you're doing with that, All Love, what I think is important for people to connect with, and next we got Rose, 10 to 10, is when you're reaching out or you're setting your proof of brand, the culture of the company, one, is like what you believe in, what you're passionate about.
Exactly.
And then in addition to that, the fact that it's something different and new, right?
Yeah.
So once you're doing that, it's not just like, hey, look at my new business. It's like, hey, look at something that may be for you.
Exactly. And it really is to introducing tennis, this sport that is unattainable, right, quote unquote, to a larger community of people that look like you and me and everything in between.
Right.
So I'm really excited about it because tennis is something that it's a vehicle for a lot of things. It's a way to get scholarship to college, right? It's a way to, tennis is often it's a single sport. You can play doubles, but it takes extreme focus, extreme concentration, strategy, right? It's unlike any other sport, really, in a lot of ways. And just introducing those principles to a community, I mean, it was impactful for me growing up, so it could be impactful for others as well.
So for me, I don't think I knew much about tennis till like maybe high school, college, where I would see it on TV.
Yeah.
How did you get into tennis as far as just playing tennis?
You know what? My dad played.
Get out of here.
Yeah. My dad played. Yeah. He played in college, and so he had me and my brother kind of playing, but it was just something that stuck for me. And to be honest, like I played basketball, I played soccer, I played softball, everything. But the thing that I liked about tennis, honestly, was the individuality.
Okay.
You're just kind of out there. Yeah. You can't blame a team if you lose, You can't blame a coach, You're out there and you have to figure it out. Yeah. And it's really good for people that have like a problem-solving type mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it touches on something else that I think you and I connected with when we started training together, is just playing a sport in itself. Gives you a sense of discipline, sense of community, sense of connection, things like that. So I think that for anybody, whether it's like your kids or yourself, and I don't think you're ever too old because now you're teaching tennis, right?
Oh, yeah.
I'm teaching people boxing. No matter what age you are, even if you feel like you're out of college, things like that, just picking up a sport in itself has so many things that come with it.
Oh, yeah. And I have a private clientele like you did as a trainer, right? And still do. And most of them are adults. And these are people that it's cool to see week to week a grown man getting better. And being excited about it. And sometimes it's funny, I'll get people that say like, why do people take tennis lessons from you? Why are people playing tennis every week? And to me, it's a funny question. It's like, I mean, why not? Why not?
But I mean, and right? Like, sometimes not everybody wants to go to the gym and just lift
Exactly.
weights, right?
Yeah.
Not everybody wants to run on a treadmill forever.
That's right. It's a full body workout.
It's a full body workout,
Yeah.
and then you're actually picking up a new skill that you're not even thinking about because you're worried about getting better.
Exactly. And the other benefit that having a network in tennis that has provided is it is, quote unquote, an elite sport. So think about it. You meet all kinds of people playing tennis, all kinds of people. I've met directors, casting agents, teachers, judges, directors of HR. Just the gambit is crazy of the people that I interface with playing this sport.
Yeah. And then you get to have like that casual conversation with everything. Then we get to break for a second.
Yeah.
Okay, so all right, so so you get to have it, which is dope. And I think also too, you must have learned a lot through these conversations.
Oh yeah.
I think a lot of times people think research is just going to the library or going on the internet and Googling.
Yeah.
But you must have asked like a bunch of questions from people you've met.
Oh yeah. I mean, the cool thing about having taught tennis out here for the past 3 years is I've had a captive audience to test my idea. You know, like, just, is this something you would even want? I know you pay me every week to play tennis, but what if I had a space? Would you come there? What if it was other people that looked like you? Would you come there? It's like, yes, you know? So it's doing a little bit of that proof of concept, that market research, right? Just through interactions, and then kind of expanding it to the greater community of LA. Like, it's just exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what you just hit is testing it out.
Oh yeah.
So many times, like, you know how it is, like, sometimes talking to friends or family, like, I want to start a business. It's like, no matter how good you think that idea is, you got to test it out first.
You do.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so for example, I don't know if me as a trainer was shit unless I went out and trained one person.
Exactly.
So now it's not just what I think and feel, it's being confirmed by other people and you're getting that feedback.
Exactly.
You know, companies spend millions of dollars on getting surveys, right? But now you're able to, you can do that for free.
Exactly,
right?
exactly. And if you think about, right, so like All Love Summer Series, right? And you're doing pop-ups at different places in the city, using different courts in the city, and you're building community around it. Think about a tennis day party, you know? And how many people that brings out and how much education you can give just about tennis, prolific minorities, right? Obviously, you got Serena, you got Venus, but you've also got people from Canada, for people from Europe that are black, that have played and have made a name for themselves. So it's just kind of expanding so that it's just the possibilities. You see yourself somewhere that you didn't see yourself before. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
You know?
What adjustment or what thing do you think that you learned that you thought you knew prior is like you started feeling it out? So you know how it is, like, oh, I think this is gonna work, this is gonna be fire. And as you do it, you're like, ugh.
You know what? You know what it really is?
What?
How can I say this? When you're vulnerable with your idea to people and their feedback, a lot of people are not gonna get it. They're not going to understand why. Why would you need another tennis club? Why would you need a place for minorities? That's more the question. So the things that I've learned is how to be more concise and precise in what I'm saying so that I land the vision in 15 seconds. So it just makes it's almost like a surgeon. You're just becoming more and more precise with your messaging and how you articulate it. So that's one of the big things. I
love that. I love that. We'll go back to the hinges.
All right.
Because I think a lot of times people take critique or feedback of their idea as good or bad.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, let's say I have an idea for a new business, something, and I tell people and they're like, oh, this idea is amazing. I'm like, cool, that means I'm doing well.
Yeah.
Or you tell people the idea and they're like, I don't see it or I don't get it, and you think that's something bad. Versus you're using both as just areas to improve how you deliver your message.
Exactly.
Because for potential customers, you're gonna have to deliver that message over and over again.
Exactly.
And you started just by going out and testing it out.
Exactly. And you're right. Like, so many people they take feedback or misunderstanding personal. Especially with an idea that's like your baby, you know?
Yeah.
And I feel like the corporate American in me has really made me have thick skin because it's constant feedback, constant do this better. And you just learn to separate business from who you are as a person. And you take everything as constructive, you know?
Yes.
So that's one thing about me, like, give me the feedback. I'm never gonna take it personal. Let me know, because if you think that, even if I'm not meaning to come off in a certain way, somebody else might take that too, right?
Yeah.
So let me just fix it.
And I guess it's almost demanding more out of your friends and family.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, and I think 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So taking control of your idea is big.
Yeah.
Because even certain people may think they want to answer you in a way that is to either affirm you or negate what you're doing, when sometimes it's neither.
Yeah.
I just want you to listen and tell me honestly how you would respond to this if you heard it for the first time from somebody you didn't know.
Yeah. And you know what? You hit on something big with the friends and family. I have great friends. I have great family, great support. But it can be very lonely having a business idea, you know? Because it's kind of what we started this conversation with. People don't understand all that goes into just step one. Step one being for you here, finding a space, right? Step one being, what's the programming around this space? There's so many thoughts and steps that go into getting from 0 to 1. And a lot of people don't understand that, you know? So I've actually had the most luck talking to people that I don't know. Because then there's no, they don't need to be yes men or women. They don't know me at all, so they can give me their true, you know, unrestricted feedback. And that's very helpful.
Get 5 more. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good.
Nice.
Not taking things personal. I think that's one of the biggest things that I learned in the beginning was, how are you not seeing this? How are you not getting it? Because like I'm so passionate about it.
It's a good idea.
You don't know? You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, you know, and it almost throws you for a minute. But I think when you're starting to establish a business mindset, you start to understand that everything is data. Everything is just constant data. So it's almost like encouraging that feedback, whether it be negative or positive. Well, tell me more. You like it? Why didn't you say it? Why didn't you see it?
Exactly.
Okay, you didn't see it. Maybe I'm not describing this better.
And two, what I've found is sometimes I'll deliver the message, right? The idea. So it's creating a place, right, where people of all backgrounds and cultures feel like they can come in and be authentic, right? Sounds great. Sounds sexy, right? But why? Right? So a question, I'm taken aback. Well, why? How do you know that's gonna work? What's the proof of concept? Where's the traction? Have you validated that idea? Right? And maybe I wasn't ready for that conversation then, but what am I doing now? Trying to build the traction and validate the idea. So also you have to be careful when you do get feedback. It may not be something you want to hear at that moment, again, about your business, but once you take a step back from it, have other data points gathered, you see that maybe they said it in a way that you weren't receptive to, but over here, these people are saying the same thing. It's just wrapped in, I understand your idea. Right?
It's, and the thing is, though, is like, there's this interesting story I heard a while ago. I'm going to butcher it, but you get what I'm talking about. Where when an idea is new, people aren't really supposed to get it. Because there's a reason why it's not there yet. Where it was like something like where this businessman was sent to this place where it was like a remote area. They hadn't really been modernized in any way. This is like a story from throughout history, or back in history, where he goes there and he's like, we're gonna sell sneakers there, right? He gets there, he finds out like nobody in the village wears sneakers, right? So he calls back, he's like, hey, nobody here really wears sneakers. He's like, so this is probably not a good place to bring this idea. The guy on the phone says, are you crazy? Bring all the sneakers we have, right? So it's like one of those things where you're there, and because nobody's come up with this idea, it may put you back at first, like, should I do this? Because there's nothing of that sort, but you have to test it and try it, you know?
They don't even know what they don't know. That's the biggest thing. Sometimes you don't know what you don't know.
You don't know
but then you find out, oh, I didn't even know I didn't know that, but now I don't know and I can figure it out.
Exactly. This workout's like a slow burn, ain't it?
I know it is.
On the low.
You got me talking and trying to balance.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. The
Nice.
biggest thing that I learned was that the growth never stops.
Yeah.
So what was so crazy to me to understand was I did something that worked for a year. And then all of a sudden after that year, it just stopped working. And I'm like, what the hell happened?
Yeah.
Right? So when we first opened, doing like, let's say 5-day challenges where people come in for these boot camps and we give them these diets. For like a year straight, it worked. Then we tried it at another time and like nobody signed up. And I was like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah.
So I looked back and literally 2 more, 2, and 1. It was just the timing of it.
Yeah.
Such a small thing.
Yeah.
Where it was like the time we did it before was right when like a bunch of festivals and things were coming up, so people were looking to get ready.
Right, you try to get your body right.
Right, trying to get your body right.
Yeah.
And I was not paying attention to the timing. So then that small detail of like starting it just a month earlier.
Yeah.
Would do everything, you know?
Yeah. Well, and something that you said, it's always about growth and expansion, right?
Yeah.
And maybe after a year, like your goals change, your revenue changes, your customers change, right?
Yeah.
So it's always, even in the planning phase like this, all right, my goal is to get these summer series up, right? So my goals, my roadmap, my focus, my partners, my resources, it's one thing right now, but after I accomplish that, well, now we're at a position maybe to pitch it to a big brand.
Right.
So now it's different.
Yeah.
You know, now my focus is different. Now my strategy is different. So it's also, there's also something about, yes, you tunnel into a vision and an idea, but you also can't have blinders on to the things around you that are changing as you progress your business. And then, like you said, also just through the year, right?
Yeah.
Tennis is played, all year round, but you know, there are some seasons where it's more popular than others. You know what I mean? So there's so many things that go into it.
Yeah.
You know?
Making those adjustments as you start to learn new things, because you're going to learn new shit.
Yeah, and I've heard stories time and time again of people that are just stubborn with an idea. No, this is it, it's fixed, and it fails because you weren't open to adapting.
You weren't open to adapting.
Exactly.
You weren't open to adapting.
Yeah, you always have to adapt your business and your idea because it changes. It's supposed to change.
Yes.
You're not supposed to be stagnant.
Yes.
And I remember seeing you at was the first location I came to, was that your first location?
That was the first location
Okay,
we had.
yes.
Yeah. We were there for 4 years.
Yes, and then through the pandemic,
You
came over here.
Yeah.
So
And
major expansion.
major changes.
Oh yeah. What do you think was the biggest difference between that space and this space?
You know what's funny? The biggest difference is kind of what we're doing now. It's kind of loosely related. Is 2 and 1. Good. So prior to the pandemic, we were terrible at making videos.
Really?
Terrible. Like, I had just no idea how to do it.
Yeah.
So but when the pandemic hit, we were forced to make videos to provide services for our clients and members who couldn't come in.
That's right.
So now I'm sitting here like, okay, so I grab my iPhone, I'm placing it, and then I look back at some of that old footage. It was god awful, right? But I had to figure it out as months kept going by. So I'm researching, figuring out how to use iPhone.
Yeah.
And then now here we are 2 years later, we could do a whole production.
Oh, yeah.
Like recording, editing, lighting, audio, all that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think that was like the biggest thing that I took was that when something happens, you got to figure out what you're going to learn and adopt a new skill.
Yeah. Yes.
Because one thing, I'm sure you're realizing, is that you don't wear one hat.
No.
When you're opening.
Oh my gosh.
You got to figure out everything, whether it's graphic design,
Yes.
whether it's accounting,
Yes.
whether it's marketing. You have to figure out all that stuff.
By yourself. Until you have a team around you, you have to figure it out.
Yeah.
You have to. And one of the things that I know, as we have been friends, I know that you are doing, and the things that I have been doing, you figure out how can you be efficient with your time.
Yeah.
Because you have clients all day.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So when are you going to do marketing, accounting?
Yes. Right. All the other stuff.
Right. So
All the
it's
other
also understanding different tools and how do you automate certain things? How do you contract certain things out, right? So that you're able to get efficiencies. But then the trick with that is trusting somebody with your idea and your vision.
Let me tell you, this is like, so I have a business partner that my college roommate, and this is probably about 90% of our conversations, is we run into a roadblock where we need an expert.
Yeah.
And then when it's time to bring the expert in, how do we trust this expert?
Right.
And that's been our thing, because we've been burnt a couple times. Plus, at the same time, we've had people that have worked real good for us. So every time I get on the phone after, he like, you trust them? I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, so like that whole thing. But what makes it tough is you have to have people that you're gonna trust.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and we've talked about this. So when you're starting up a business, there are a lot of resources out there, right?
Yeah.
And so I personally have just been accepted to something that's called an accelerator program.
Okay.
And it's literally, this one's run by the city, but there are some that are run by venture capital firms, and it's meant for founders to incubate their ideas, right? To help them get from 0 to 1 or 1 to 2, you know? And so that is something that I knew about, but wasn't super familiar with, but have now really tapped into, and it bridges the gap between a lot of this do I trust conversations, because there are people that have already done everything that you're trying to do, and they're already fully vetted, or else they wouldn't be in association with the program.
Yeah.
And so it helps a little bit.
So it's almost like researching different organizations.
Yeah.
That's what they're put there for.
Correct.
Is to be that resource that other people have gone to. So now they've done all the vetting and all those things.
Yeah, and it's literally just putting resources around you to help you get your idea off the ground, helping you understand business frameworks and how do you think about your customers, your revenue, the partners that you need to have. And then also being partnered with an executive that has started multiple businesses, that has been where you are, that has failed, that has succeeded, and you have that thought partner, so you're not all alone, right?
Yeah,
so if I'm doing this little summer series, it's not just me, it's me and then the connections that the city has.
Yes,
you know,
yes.
so you have to be strategic too about what you're researching and figure out how can you automate or help yourself.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah. I want to say of late, our best friend has been Upwork and Fiverr. Right?
Now, what is that?
Those are two platforms that I've found to be useful that kind of screen freelancers for you. So I'll go onto the platform and say, hey, I'm looking for somebody who does digital marketing.
Okay.
Then from that, you would get a bunch of responses from sometimes 50, sometimes 100 different freelancers who have all been reviewed by the company, right? Plus other people who have used them. So now, till we get one more. And
like got a little Yelp.
Yes, yeah. It's like, exactly. It's like a Yelp for freelancers.
Okay.
So now we'll find one, we'll use them, and now what I've just recently started to do is put the ones that I've liked and we have a good rapport with into an Excel sheet with what their service is. So now, what we're building is like this resource page with web developers, digital marketers, people who do any other thing you could think of, graphic design, video editing. And then anytime we need a service, we go to that Excel sheet.
So then it's recurring, you building the relationship, and the reality is the more that you work with somebody, the more clear and crisp they get on your vision as well. You know?
Yes. Yeah.
I like that.
The most recent one that I hired was someone who does proofreading.
Okay.
One more. And good. So with the proofreading, because I'm writing so much, whether it's blogs, whether it's putting up new content, I do it so fast and it's very creative. Sometimes I don't have the energy or the space to go over it.
Yeah, I understand.
Then, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'll send it to this proofreader. They'll go over it, make all those little, you missed a period here, you didn't capitalize here. Yeah. And then they send it back. And it's not even that expensive. The charge is like $40 an hour.
Right, I was about to say, now how much did this cost?
Yeah, soup, and all of them have different rates, you know?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you know, and something else that I'm learning through the little accelerator program that I'm in is how you can utilize AI. Right, so AI, you have things like
artificial intelligence.
How you can use things like a chat GPT, right, to even automate your posting.
So to automate your posting as well?
Yes, because essentially, and I need to like dig more into it, so I may butcher what actually is the process, but from what I'm understanding, you can kind of type in the parameters of your business, what you're looking to do, kind of give them a bunch of information on the front end, and then they'll spit out the content that you need. And then instead of you spending 2-3 hours coming up with it completely, you spending just 30 minutes editing something that's already written for you. Yes, and so they said that a lot of people are using that for things like social media, that need to happen regularly, but you obviously don't have the time to just sit in front of Instagram all day.
Right.
You know, so I'm gonna tap into that and let you know a little bit more.
Yeah. Please do. I've heard a lot about it, and I have a few clients that use it for their jobs.
Yeah.
One said they even got rid of their copywriter. Like, we got AI now.
Yeah, you know? So it's just all about efficiencies. I know I said that a little earlier, but it is. You only have so many hours in a day, you know?
Oh my God, yeah. Oh my goodness. 2 more. One more. Yeah, good. So it's almost like building your own team.
Yeah.
So I think the first thing, which is important, is knowing that you need a team.
Yes.
You can't do everything.
Oh, no.
So if you know you have a friend or family member that's good at something, bring them in. If you got a good relationship, you know how that shit goes.
Right, exactly,
right?
Exactly. Do I trust you?
Right, yeah. And then if there's nothing there, then it's like, okay, local business support organizations, going on some of these freelance websites, different things like that, but understanding you need a team.
Yeah.
When I mean to tell you, that might have been the biggest thing I learned opening a business, is that you can't do everything.
Yeah. And I'll say that one of the benefits of me being in a very businessy, corporate-y type job is that I have had experience seeing how an organization runs, right? At the highest level. How do you structure an organization, right? How do you work with marketing, communications, HR, right? So one thing that I feel like is an advantage is I do bring a lot of just business knowledge to creating a business. And a lot of times you'll have somebody that's creative, they've got the idea or the talent, but they've never been in a corporate America or a business situation to understand exactly what you found out. There's a team, right? Corporations operate with a team.
With a team.
And thousands, hundreds of employees.
Yes.
So what does that look like for the scale and size of your business, you know? So it does give me, I feel like, a little bit of a different perspective, because you hear creatives say all the time, I'm creative, but I just need the business. So now it's like, oh, I have the business, but I know what I don't know, and so now I need to build the team.
Now you need to build a team. Now you need to build a team.
Exactly.
We'll go big hip rotations. I remember one of my first jobs in LA is I worked at Equinox for a while.
Yes.
After
so
Equinox,
fancy.
Oh yeah. When I mean to tell you a culture shock.
Oh yeah.
Coming from Massachusetts, and then the first place I work is Equinox in Brentwood.
Oh gosh, and Brentwood too. Oh yeah.
Oh, Brentwood was crazy.
Super fancy.
It's like, oh, they have valets at the gym. Oh, okay, it's a little different. So that was one of the biggest things that that I learned. But also too, it's the lens at which I looked at things. So we'll go here. And then reach the side up there, and then we'll alternate. We'll get the hips.
Okay.
I paid attention between there and then this other small private studio I work for. I paid attention to a lot of the business, like how do they interact with customers, what worked, what didn't work. And I think sometimes it's just about the lens you use and the questions you ask. So if you're at a job that you know eventually you're gonna leave and start your own thing, you might want to just pay a little more attention to things that you could take lessons from.
Oh yeah.
And ask questions.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't think that there's any experience that you ever go through that you can't take something from.
Yes.
You know, and that's always the lens that I like to look at things through. And then the other lens too is just things aligning, you know? If you have an idea and it's meant to all happen, it happens the way that it's supposed to. And sometimes you have your vision set on it happen in a certain way. That doesn't happen. Instead of getting discouraged, the thought is always, well, it's just going to be something that I haven't imagined yet. You know? Yeah.
I think not stopping is big.
Yeah.
Because I think it's an understatement to say that you're going to miss, you're going to have failures. And same thing as you were saying earlier, is taking that as more as information.
Yeah.
Right? So when you have that idea, because you hold it, and you know how it is, your idea is like your baby.
Oh yeah.
You cuddle it, you hold it.
Oh yeah.
And then when somebody's like, your baby ain't cute.
Right, you're like, what?
Like, what you mean?
Yeah, what you mean? You're not cute.
Yeah, right.
We taking it personal. You can't take it personal.
You're not cute. Instead, it's like, no, you know, what could I do different? And I think that's the biggest thing. And sometimes it's also to paying attention to what's not said. So I even take no response as feedback.
Oh yeah.
So if I give an idea, whether it's something to make we'll go to side bends, whether to launch something new, or it's just a new idea within the business, and I don't get a reaction, and they just don't get it, I'm like, fuck, I gotta, because they're not feeling this the way that I'm thinking it in my head.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's about that articulation, right?
Yeah.
And just becoming even more precise with how you convey your vision or whatever step. It could be an expansion of the vision, right? And you're just trying to articulate that correctly. But yeah, no response, a response, kind of a response, all of those you can take something from always.
Oh yeah. So what would you say is your best case scenario with launching? You know, like when you sit down or at nighttime before you go to bed and you're dreaming, you're thinking big, what's the best case scenario in launching?
The manifestation, okay. I think best case scenario is first and foremost the summer series, that being very successful.
The summer series.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you'll see, we're gonna be working out as I form it, so you'll be on the journey with me. And just really building that following in the community. So that's step one, building a following within the community around my idea, around this brand, All Love, right? There's a huge merchandising piece to it as well. So just building a following around that. But as a physical space and location, best case scenario, Arts District, warehouse, cool art, rustic. You got people of all ages, colors, creeds, kinds coming up in there. And I have partnerships with some of the biggest corporations that are out there for the sport of tennis.
Wow.
That's the vision. That's the vision. We shooting stuff there. We got celebrities up in there playing or practicing. And when I say celebrities, yes, people around LA, but like people that are in tennis that say, hey, when I come to LA, I'm trying to train right there.
Right,
you know?
That see that value.
Exactly.
That see that value.
Exactly. Just people to get it. Just people to get it. And some people ask, like, are you trying to like franchise and create multiple places? And to be honest, the idea, maybe that comes, but I would be just so happy if it was just here.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. You know, I really wanted to make sure that we just got 36 minutes of work.
Let's go.
36 minutes of work we just got in. I wanted to make sure I ended it with that good vibe of your manifestation.
Oh, yeah.
So that, you know, when we sit back and look at it, we can say that vision came true.
Oh yeah, it's definitely gonna happen. We're gonna make it happen.
Definitely. Appreciate you coming through, homie.
Absolutely.